Hey, I could be your sister. And I'm sitting down to write more letters to Marianne Thomas. That's Victoria's Health Minister, and she's been hearing from me for years. It's about a year ago that I came out on Four Corners to tell my story and the fact that I'm looking for siblings to warn them about some medical information that might extend their life. We have legislation in Victoria that says a clinic may reach out to families that they've created to communicate any medical information once they've been told about it. But that word may means that they can, they might, but they don't have to. A little bit further down in the legislation it says 68E in that section. Nothing in this part requires a clinic to communicate that medical information. So they don't have to do anything at all. And the bare minimum that they have chosen to do is to send that information to my siblings' parents, the people that had the treatment, to their addresses that they have on file. Now, for me personally, if it was a sibling trying to get this information to me, the clinics would have sent a letter to my mother to her address in Melbourne when she moved to South Australia when I was 4, and she died in 2009. So it's a pretty minimal effort to try and warn someone about a precancerous condition. If left unchecked, can increase your risk of bowel cancer between 25 and 40% in your lifetime. So when an issue is that serious, why doesn't Marianne Thomas want to communicate it to my siblings? I've been writing to her for years. So when she says that clinics regulating themselves doesn't pass the pub test, this isn't new information to her. If I have as many siblings as I estimate, or if there are over 100 siblings, does that warrant a public health crisis? And if I've been warning Marianne Thomas for years now, yearly, I'm sending her an update yearly at least to plead with her to try and reach out to my siblings. If I eventually find a sibling who has developed bowel cancer in the last 7 years when she hasn't stepped in to help, what's that going to mean for the Victorian government? She says this thing about Victoria being the healthiest place for Victorians to live, or some kind of saying like that. And I've got all of my siblings that are actively being separated from up-to-date medical information. Like, they can't make informed decisions about their health. And none of the siblings that have found this precancerous condition have had any symptoms. So why would you go and check for something if you've got no symptoms and no medical history in your family that you know about? The thing is, as well, that makes this a lot worse is that since February, the South Australian Register has been active for donor-conceived people. And there's a section in South Australian legislation that was passed that says the Health Minister can step in. So Chris Picton, the Health Minister of South Australia, said that he's willing to use those ministerial powers to step in. And we're trying to verify what siblings I've got in South Australia according to the most dodgy information from clinics from 30 years ago. But if those people can be verified and warned in South Australia, and then I've got, upwards of 58 confirmed siblings in Victoria, why aren't they being warned? Because they live in Victoria, because they were conceived in Victoria, they don't get to be warned. Victoria is not the healthiest place for Victorians. Victorian donor-conceived people cannot be warned by their siblings about genetic medical information that's trying to be communicated to them. And they're doing a rapid review into the IVF industry right now. I think the laws need to change. There's so far to go. Anyway, another day, another letter.